I'll watch that. You gonna watch it? What?
Joe's no chance.
What is it, friends? Yeah, nah. To be honest, I want some sleep.
He's had a busy week.
Yeah. Busy weekend.
Yeah. Maybe busy,
Resting. Hey, I need a favor.
That's all right. I'll remember.
Don't.
I'll remember next time he said.
Why are you targeting for?
I know. I agree. I don't want an episode like that for today.
Why am I targeting you? You started with me.
Nice, easy app.
Who rocked up at Salami last weekend? Fucking 10 a.m. Exactly.
Oh, hey, I'm just looking after the family.
Oh no, you had to sleep in because you were tired.
Hey, can
I didn't even say
Jules?
That wasn't even the reason.
Jules, Joe. On a serious note, do one of you have a charger because my phone's going to die? My wife could give birth.
I actually don't. If you need to get one, go to your car.
I need a charger.
Have you got one in your car?
Have you got something?
Have you got a charger in your car? What are you on? Fucking hell.
I know.
Have you got a charger?
Listen, I won't use it. Yeah,
I'll check. I actually might have one in my bag.
Go.
One in my bag. All right. Fuck. Let me hit the intro. Fucking hell.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's our moment. We finally, as a generation, we can hang our hat on a genuine moment.
Honestly, we are a force because of the intensity that we play at is just next level.
We want to be here. We want to impact finals. And it's one thing of obviously saying it, but we just lived it.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 133 of the Almost Blues Brothers podcast, proudly part of the Blue Broad Media Network and proudly powered in 2024 by Image Online. Studios here in Abbotsford, podcast studio, jingles, what else? Voiceovers. I'll do it every week. Voiceovers, jingles, podcast studio, you name it. Whatever you need for your business. Live calling. Yep. Whatever you name it. Whatever you need for your business. Image Online. Yes, we are. So Dan's phone's on 16%.
Not prepared yet.
It's on 16 going on 17.
For the third week in a row, we're on Baby Watch. But it could be tonight.
Today could be any hour.
It could actually be tonight.
I don't know why I'm here because I love Carlton Football Club.
So
that's why I'm here.
If you're watching live,
I love my child more.
If you're watching live or if you're listening later in the week and the transmission just cuts out abruptly, it's because we're on our way to the hospital. Yeah, it's actually pretty real tonight.
Yeah, my head's a bit scattered.
I don't know why you're here. Even John Holden said, seriously, Dan, what are you doing?
Listen, I'll do this for my two best mates.
For us.
I'll do this for the listeners and I'll do this for the Blues.
Do we need him here?
If this isn't set an example, say no.
He said it, not me.
That's fine.
I mean, it's great to have you here, but
also before we start,
do we need you here?
Before we start, so little feedback session, not from me, but from the listeners after the last couple of weeks. I think we got to just.
Nah, you know what?
We got to just settle a bit. There've been some arguments. There's been a lot of talking over the top. I think I love it. I love it personally. We all love it. It's organic, but it's very hard to listen to.
Nah, how's this?
It is very hard to listen to.
If you don't like it, don't watch our show.
We could go.
Welcome to the Almost Blues Brothers.
Shannon Gore.
We've been doing it for 4 years.
Shannon Gore watching live tonight in the comments. Shan from the Cheese Squad helped us out with the banner last year. She's on Baby Watch tonight as well.
I
think she's due pretty much.
My baby?
No, she's due pretty much the same day as Lauren. Yeah, from my understanding. So I think she's also hanging on like Lauren is till tomorrow for the Centrelink.
Yeah, the tick over.
So July. Oh, that was today. July 1. They ticked over from 20 weeks to 22. Is that right?
I saw Lauren talking to the baby saying, just wait to July 1.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of babies. Oh,
Yeah.
goody.
Oh, thanks, Bill.
Jules Azil.
Thank you.
Yeah, little
Feels
baby Marcus, new blue bagger.
That's it, mate. Just another one to the list.
Yeah. Jules' sister.
Another one Joe's going to have to get tickets for and say reserve
fuck.
15 seats.
Seriously. Like,
Get to the ground 3 hours before as well.
I really need someone else to take over that job. I'm the one there early every week. I'm the one getting tickets. Can someone else just help me, please? He rocks up on the bounce. You don't even come. You don't even sit with us.
Oh, what? I do.
You didn't sit with us.
All right, this week. The hell?
I think any sense.
Anyway,
You had a function pre-game.
how was your weekend, Jules, outside of the footy?
Man, I'm trying to think what I actually did.
I'm actually getting that stage of life where I'm actually like forgetting.
You're getting
what,
old.
Yeah, what I did like
Yeah.
the last couple, few days. It's actually pretty interesting. Nah, to be honest with you, they're not much, boys. Obviously, the footy. I actually can't remember. Nothing.
You haven't seen your new nephew.
No, not yet. No, but I'm
Not
going to
yet.
go next day or two.
Yeah. Went to the footy yesterday.
footy?
See?
What about yourself, boys?
I've got your wife in the comments. She's
Oh,
watching
no.
live.
She abusing?
Come
I'm
back home,
I'm
Dan.
hoping your voices are soothing enough to coax the baby out, or maybe it will do the opposite. I think it's opposite, Lauren. It's
The
definitely
midwife was
opposite.
saying to Lauren, you need to be in a really calm and relaxed state. But as soon as I spoke, it just seems to get her angry. I think it's keeping the cervix closed.
Your weekend?
Yeah, it's good. I'm literally just on standby. I'm
Yeah.
keen. I want to be a dad. How's that? I'm ready to be a dad.
That's actually it's prop. I think it's hitting all of us that you're going to be a dad this time, probably next week.
Yeah.
It's weird.
No, I mean, probably, yeah.
Like I'm at the
Definitely.
point where I need to call the hospital now to get this thing out.
Mm.
Because it's either hearing Lauren in distress.
Or you're in a baby crying.
And I think I want to take the baby.
No, Lauren's doing well. I saw her for the first time in a few weeks.
We went to you like this.
She's looking well. You doing well, Lauren?
She's still in the comments.
Yeah, no, she's watching.
Watch this. We went to go get groceries on the weekend just to cook something. And the cashier, Asian woman, comes up. She goes, "Oh," she goes, "Look, this, you're pregnant." To Lauren,
Is that
I
how
thought-
she said
I
it?
thought you were about to do the accent. We're going into areas we shouldn't go.
No,
Is that how she said it?
you guys
No,
don't.
did you think the same
Yeah,
thing?
that's
No, I didn't.
I was waiting for it.
I thought you were going to. Go.
She went, "Oh," she goes, "Lauren, you're really pregnant like this." I go, "What do you reckon it is?" Looks at Lauren like that. 100% boy,
Mate,
like full confidence.
and what happened to you?
Like as if she's a fortune
Nah,
teller.
He doesn't care. We're joking.
I don't
We're
care.
joking.
Yes, he
Yeah.
No, he doesn't care.
Oh, Joe, how's your week?
I was a bit distressed. I've spoken to Dan about this, but my golf game went to the shit house all of a sudden. Went to the driving range on Saturday morning and I couldn't hit a ball.
You surprised?
No, Jules, when I say couldn't hit a ball, like I stood over the golf ball and
He's like-
nothing.
do you remember?
No, hold on.
on Space Jam.
When he doesn't have
ball-
to shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I lost my powers, Mike. I couldn't hit a ball. I couldn't make contact. Nothing, and I was
Like
genuinely
Mike when he doesn't have the shoes on.
I was genuinely distressed. But we went to the driving range tonight before the podcast and found it again, which was nice. So that's what's been on my mind. I haven't been able to sleep because of golf. I actually dreamed about it last night. I forgot to tell you this. I dreamt about not being able to hit a golf ball. It's fucking bad.
He goes, "I've got the yips like H does."
Yeah, no,
He
hey,
does.
nah, genuinely, no, I
did.
did. I actually did. If that
So
was
this- so
if
this is
that was any hold on, if that was any insight into what H went through last year, that is terrifying.
So this is why
Terrifying.
you're not going to watch the game tomorrow morning
Why?
because you said you're tired.
No, I'm not. What's that got to do with golf?
Like you want to be refreshed. I get what
Yeah.
he's trying to say.
Well, I do want to feel refreshed, yeah.
No, he's saying for your golf game because
Well,
now,
of course.
now that you felt it, now
Yeah,
you
of
want
course.
to keep it going.
Of course, you do need to be, fresh. Playing
Oh,
golf.
man. I reckon Tiger.
Anyway.
I reckon Tiger Woods would have gone back to the green or. The,
Well, I
said
did.
that to him.
Well, hold
you
on. Did I not tonight?
Well,
I was going to take a week off, was I not?
yes, he
Right.
goes to me. I don't want to see a ball. I want to take a week off. I go, bloke, just go
What
and
a-
enjoy it.
What a terrible frame of mind. Eh?
No,
It's 'cause he
hey,
hasn't- no,
and
Jules, he
you're
hasn't
right.
played sport like me.
No.
You know what? Where's the love in the game?
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And today, did I message you or did you message me?
No, you messaged me.
I messaged him saying we're going on the range tonight.
Oh,
Because
to be fair, I actually initially instigated it and said, window?
yeah, but that was you wanted me to
Window
go.
of
Hold on.
golf.
I work during the day. He wanted me to go at 2 p.m. It's in the middle of a work day. I can't do
He
that.
works during the day.
You want to get me fired again? I'm based off of just false accusations. I bring my company's beers in. I'll do everything, and you want to get me
This is
sacked.
what you do during the day. What do
You
you
want to
mean?
get me
That's
sacked.
because he got. That's because he got a. Am I gonna say he got a pay rise? got a CPI pay rise.
It's got nothing to do with it. These are free.
CPI is that what it is?
These are
Is
free.
it CPI?
It's CPI. Yeah.
CPI.
There's a few comments here.
What minute is it?
From Biffa, great show, boys. Love the banter. Nice jacket, Joe. What's on the badge? That's it's a
The
retro,
team that's going to win the EPL next year.
correct. Retro Arsenal kit. This one. And Maz asked, "How was the steak last night, Joe?" I went on fan cams for context for you two. I was on fan cams. I was
for us,
cooking.
but
Well, you
for-
don't watch it.
for us.
You don't wa-
Appearances.
You don't watch
Yeah,
it.
for us.
Hold on. Do you know?
I
No,
know.
I
It was
don't-
on our
Nice.
story. It was
But-
on our story.
Oh, you saw it. Okay, fair enough.
But he didn't
Yeah.
go on for us.
No.
Why would I go on it for you? What do you do
You
for
just-
me? What the fuck do you do for me?
That's
Oh,
literally
how-
what you just said.
Jules, how fitting. that
Without
he's
any
cooking a
further,
steak.
without any further ado, let's get into it.
Monday night's back.
He wants his. Hey, you don't have to be here. No, you can
Joe,
stay home.
It's a figure of speech.
They all
mate.
heard that, by the way, because we
Did
were
they?
back live. So they
No
heard.
way.
Everyone just heard that Jules doesn't want to be here, and that's on record. All right, let's just keep that
Oh.
straight.
Match report.
Yes, go on.
Richmond 10-10, 70.
Yes, well done.
No, you can. Keep
No, you
going.
can do it this week.
No, go.
We've got Richmond 10-10, 70. Carlton 20-11, 131. Carlton's goal scorers: Fantasia 4, Fogarty 3, Mackay 2, Walsh 2, Kerno 2, Sincotta 2, Kennedy, Owies, Williams, Cripps, and Hollands with 1 each. In our best, we've got Cripps, Walsh, Fantasia, Newman, Wiedering, Kennedy, and Akers. And in terms of injury concerns, it is Kennedy at this minute.
With a medial strain of the knee, I
Yeah.
believe.
Like, as long as Jules reads, he's got a genuine
it's
career
actually
in
good.
this.
And obviously, Tom DeConning replaced as a late out with I think it was just soreness in the end. Yeah, general soreness replaced by Pito, who we're going to talk about tonight.
There's actually a lot to talk about tonight, to be
Who
fair.
we're going to see what I did? Who we're going to talk about
Did you
tonight?
point to him?
We can
Don't
get straight
start
into
this.
it if you can get straight into it.
No, we're not going to get straight
Don't
into it.
start
We're going to
this.
do what we usually do overall. First off, you didn't sit with us. Why?
Well, you hammered me about it, but it's actually for a genuine reason.
I didn't.
No, you didn't. I know. Man, you've been good lately, Jules.
All right.
Um,
Don't know why.
Joe's just the arsehole in this fucking group. That's
can
all.
I explain the thing?
Go.
I
Yeah.
actually because I sponsor Lemmy,
Mhm.
Harry Lemmy, he actually kicked 3 in 2s.
In VFL,
Yeah, he did. So I got invited to obviously the corporate. You guys did it last year.
2 years ago.
For
2 years
Willow's.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got involved. Obviously, got a ticket to that. It was actually a really good event. They do it well. The
Nah,
Blues.
they do it very
actually
well.
do it very well.
Yeah.
I rocked up. They've got people there with unlimited like beer, wine,
Mm.
soft drink, and these cocktails. I go, we're on here. I said to Josh because I went with Josh
Yeah.
Martin. I go, we're on here. Anyway, 3-course meal, bread. If you got bread and butter on a table, unlimited, you've won me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's off to a good start.
Very good start. All right. Good thing was entree small. All right.
Usual.
Josh Martinago didn't want his.
All right.
More for Dan.
Yeah.
What was it?
Bang.
What was it?
Some prawn thing.
Did they do like one, like 2 different ones, or
No, it
just
was all
stock?
same. Yeah.
We're 13 minutes in.
Anyway, but it was good. It was
This
good.
is a
So
record.
I actually sat obviously there on level 2. So that's why I didn't sit with you guys. A lot of Richmond supporters around us, which I'll lead to in my not happy Dan. No, like you'll like this one.
Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
It's a good spot level too.
To watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the best.
We're on like literally the 50.
Yeah.
It was
But you can
good
see
spot.
the way you see the ground is
Unreal.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
How's the atmosphere there? Though?
Richmond. Oh, they're 90,000 members, nowhere to be seen.
Mm.
Yeah. To be fair,
90,000.
to be fair, I don't know if I'm cutting you off in terms of your story and your
Go.
but the atmosphere. It was Richmond's home game anyway,
Mhm.
but the atmosphere on the weekend, especially in the first half, was
Terrible.
terrible.
Dog shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very bad.
Probably the weather put a lot of people off. to be
Yeah,
fair.
but what do you expect when the team you're coming up against has 90,000 members that don't show up
Correct.
and second last on the ladder?
This
I'm
will-
sure teams would have thought that about us when we were in the shit. We didn't bring.
Hey, just let me
atmosphere
go
back
on
in the day.
about this. Let me go on about this later
Right.
in my not happy Dan because you'll like it.
Was the atmosphere that bad for us from us back then though?
Oh, there wasn't many of us.
Oh, Jules,
Yeah?
I think you forget.
Yeah.
You remember being?
I mean, I forgot the weekend. So.
do you remember being at the Freo game at Marvel? We didn't kick a goal in the first half. The most atmosphere. It was 77-7. We kicked 7 behind.
Yeah,
in
there
the
was
first
some pretty
half.
grim days.
The most atmosphere was at halftime when all of the fans booed our players off the field. That was the peak of that
Yeah.
atmosphere in that game.
But we were abusive though.
Well,
So like the atmosphere
we're
was
fiery.
yeah. So the atmosphere was there, like among
Like there's
us.
still passion.
yeah,
Correct.
but it wasn't.
But on the weekend, there was literally
wasn't
zilch
like it is
from-
now. It wasn't like
Yeah,
it
but
is
now it's because we're like successful.
that's
Well, not
big-
successful, but we will be.
circling back to my original point.
Yeah.
You're coming up against a team that's not.
Yeah.
They're just shit they're shit
Yeah.
at the moment. Anyway, in terms of the game, you alluded to it. The first half was pretty poor.
Yeah, dismal. Yeah,
It was boring. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
I was struggling to
really
watch it.
boring.
I still wasn't concerned.
I wasn't
Oh,
concerned.
no.
no.
The theory that the better team just sometimes wins does win was that on the weekend for me.
yeah. I think that was at the forefront. To be honest, with you. It was
Yeah.
just a matter of when.
Correct.
And the third quarter, that's when it happened.
Hmm.
But it
that's
was
when
boring.
eventuated. But yeah,
The first quarter for me was a complete overuse of the footy. Those handball chains at times were just unnecessary in my eyes. You know what I mean?
yeah. I
We
think it
ran
was-
ourselves into trouble
Big
too
time.
often. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
I
from overuse.
I think it was the handball change that Dan you're alluding to, but then it was also the lack of will to actually want to create space for each other. And obviously in the second half we'll go and we'll speak about it, Dan. But there was that, and then even the will and want to try and hit up targets, through the corridor and to sort of take that dangerous kick, which Richmond did a pretty good job of it. But on the odd occasion, or there was quite a few times where it did happen, where it could have been an option, but we didn't take it.
Mm.
And even the ball movement was very slow, particularly out of the back half.
Do you think personnel, because there was a few personnel changes, do you think that would have played?
To be fair,
Something?
and even in the live chat here, Shan and Wayne have both said credit to the Tigers with their pressure, and they made the game ugly. And something that we spoke about I brought up pre-show, where we were sitting on level 4, it was very easy to see how they set up, and it was similar to the Freo game in Gather Round. I'll get to your question in a minute. It looked very similar to the Freo game where they just played really negative footy. They didn't want us to score. They weren't out there. Richmond weren't out there early on to win the game. They were out there to just stifle our ability to score.
We had the ball at one stage, or for a lot of the stage of the first quarter in particular, we had the ball inside forward 50, and majority of the Richmond players were all in there.
Mm.
Majority of them
No,
were.
they were, and it wasn't even that. It was in the corridor. Like they completely clogged the center square with probably anywhere between 7 to 10 players at any given time. We were trying to come out of the back half as well, and it stifled our ball movement. So you got to give credit to the oppo. But I turned to my dad and I go, "Are you seeing what I'm seeing here with how they're setting up?" And he turned to me and he goes, "They're not going to do that all game." And once the game opened up, you saw what happened. You saw what happened. When you're a shit team, you know what you're coming up against, yeah, and you know what you've got to stop.
Do you think it
Essentially.
did open up because they thought they had a sniff? At one point, they were 13 points down.
Yeah, well, yeah. When
I
they're
reckon
in
they
the game
must
for
have
that
thought
long,
they had an
yeah.
opportunity. It was
Goal.
yeah.
When they keep themselves in the game that long by playing so negative, of course you're going to get your tail up a bit and go, "Fuck, like we're on here. If we can get a run on, they don't have the class."
Yeah,
Simple.
I don't know. I don't think it was because of them that that allowed us to get into the game. I actually think it was more up to us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I think we sort of just flicked the switch, to be honest with you, when we have those gears that we can go to. And I think we've seen in the last few weeks that it's actually happened. Like a Port, like a Geelong, like an Essendon, like now against Richmond.
I think-
yesterday. I'm actually forgetting about them already.
It
No,
doesn't
I know what
matter.
you're saying.
It actually doesn't matter.
We'll get into that in a minute.
I think
Why
for
it doesn't
me,
matter.
I think for me,
We'll get into why it doesn't matter anymore. But go.
I think seriously.
I'm going to go stupid tonight. In terms, I usually go off about winning the flag, but watch me tonight.
Oh, you're gonna go nuts.
Cheer me up a bit.
No, but I think seriously, I think it's what I've been saying as well is it's your midfield, your stoppage work, your clearance work. That's what got us going again.
Mm.
That's where it has to come from. I think we actually started to create some ascendancy in there that actually got us going.
Yeah, early on.
Not from a scoring perspective, because clearly we scored majority of our goals from turnover, but you could just see that we started to get the ascendancy when we're getting our clearance and
In the
stoppage
midfield,
game
yeah,
going
in the midfield.
massively.
Yeah. For sure. That was the first half, and then obviously, leading into that third quarter, that's a blitz that we've seen how many times now?
It's
Oh,
starting to
so many
become,
times.
yeah.
What was it? 6 goals in 7 minutes?
Something like that,
ridiculous.
yeah.
6 goals in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And the scoring sources, I checked it today. It was turnover, stoppage, turnover, kick in. And the kick in was when there was that little scrap in the back pocket. So everyone was kind of at sixes and sevens. But there's balance in how that blitz is coming. We can score in fucking any different way you want. We've got so many gears and so many layers that we've added to this structure and this system that when it's time to turn it on,
We've
See you
seen it
later.
now. We can
Put
see
down
it.
and
We
see
can
you
see
later.
it firsthand.
Talking about scoring.
Calcs.
Let's
Do you,
Yeah,
want
go.
your, do you want your
Do
sting?
you
or
think?
do you want your little song this week?
Yeah, just so I can settle. All right. So obviously, Joe was alluding to the manner in which we are scoring, and we are scoring from a variety of different ways. There was one area that before this year was we found it hard. We found it very, very difficult, and that is turnover. I know we scored 96 plus off turnover on the weekend, but there's one little area of the ground where we are forcing teams to turn over the ball in particular. That's very damaging because teams aren't set up. Okay. Now I'm alluding to this stat because the last out of the last 5 premiers, 4 of them, okay, bar one, which is Melbourne, okay, weren't number 1 at any stage or by the end of the season in this stat. Okay. So your Richmonds, your Geelong, and your Collingwood were number 1 in the comp. And mind you, over the first half of the year, Sydney with 3 from the opening round to round, from the opening round to round 9. Okay. And then GWS was 6 from the opening round to round 9. Now we know during that period how well they were going. And obviously the last 6 weeks, they've been pretty poor in terms of form.
What's the stat?
In terms of form. I'll get to it. And then
excited.
I'm
excited.
And then from 10 to 16, so rounds 10 to 16, Sydney are 12th, okay, and GWS are 18th.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
Now, the stat is scores from defensive mid intercepts. Okay, so from the center of the ground to the 50 meter half.
Where'd you get these
in the back
stats?
half.
Where'd you get these stats? I didn't give you these today.
Very good.
Fuck
I got my
hell.
sources.
Look at it go.
So yeah, from the middle of the ground to your defensive 50, this is where you're turning the ball over. And what it means is you're getting it, and there's enough space inside your forward 50 because obviously there's a lot of numbers behind the ball or around the ball
Turn them around.
to turn it around, and the space.
So wait,
now,
we're turning it over in our defensive half. Or their defensive half.
Our defensive half.
Yeah.
So from center to 50, and that will like
Sard. Yeah,
Boyd,
correct.
Gov,
All right.
come into play.
You
Your
can see it for
movements
what it is.
Go on.
Yeah.
come into play. Now, from the opening round, okay, to round 9, we're 13th. From the last 6 games or 7 games, from 10 to 16, we're number 1 in the comp.
Yeah, bang.
There you go. You know what? I just want to say something. That's his best calcs he's ever done.
No.
Genuinely. That's very good.
So,
Jules.
going in the back half, and that's why today, in terms of peaking, I think we're on a real upward trajectory. What is there? There's 7 rounds to go, and we will solidify ourselves in the top 4. Obviously,
Top 2.
No,
Definitely top 4.
I'll tell you.
Definitely the top 4.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
I'll be very surprised if we don't finish top 4, and I reckon we've got a very, very good chance of finishing top 2. I think Sydney is probably still in reach, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they are.
Just because of especially the last month that they've had. I think teams have started to work them out. Obviously, they've been the benchmark of the competition for the last 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 weeks. And obviously, in the last month, kick teams like a Geelong.
Jules is talking minor premiers.
Have put them.
Yeah.
I think it'll be close.
Can I tell you why? Can I tell you why I reckon we're a genuine lock for top 2? It's not because of how good we're playing. 3rd, that has been spoken about already, but 3rd to 13th is too much of a shit fight to even know who the 3rd best team is, let alone the 2nd best outside of us in Sydney.
Well, it's a space of a game.
It's locked in.
Also, yeah.
I'm telling
It's
you
locked
now,
in.
in terms of grand final, there's only 4 teams for
We said
me
this, yeah.
that can win it. Only 4 teams.
Sydney,
Sydney.
Carlton, Collingwood, Brisbane.
Correct. The only other team that has shown really, really good form in this area
Freo.
is Freo.
He's Freo.
They've
Yeah.
turned
But
it
did you
around a
see
little
what
bit.
Freo did
Yeah.
to the
But
Swans?
But even then,
I don't see they have enough.
so a Freo, a Brisbane, and Collingwood, and Essendon, they've had their patches, and then they go nowhere. Like
Yeah.
no one's been able to solidify a third spot, like we've been able to solidify second,
Correct.
or like Sydney's been able to solidify first.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so confident
Yeah.
that top two right now looks lock loaded.
And speaking of the run in as well that we do have, we have the easiest run, obviously, in terms of like the fixtures going into the back half of the year or the last 7 rounds. Sydney have the second. All right. So
Yeah, correct.
So we've got the 2 easiest runs.
We've been through our patch.
Yeah.
We've been through our tough patch. Essendon have got the hardest run now. They went through their easy patch.
But did you see the way Sydney lost to Freo?
Yeah.
Did
Freo
you
did
see?
well
Did you
working
see what they did?
out. Source?
It was all at the source.
Yeah.
It was literally our profile just beat Sydney
Yeah, out of the middle.
out of the
Difference
middle.
yeah. Anyway,
Difference is with Freo, they don't have the firepower that we have up forward to actually damage them
Yeah.
rather than make it
that's
like
true. That's true.
rather than make it like
Yeah,
that little.
ju-
It was a close game in the end, obviously.
Yeah.
But we would blow them out. I'll tell you something.
Can we talk about firepower up forward just quickly?
I want to talk about what we need to do to literally blow the whole comp out.
All right, go. And then I want to get into two
Because we spoke about this pre-show,
Mhm.
and for me, we've got everything now. Every layer that we've had to build is there. You can see it. There is one thing that I don't think, and if we bring a little bit more work ethic to create an option, okay,
off the ball.
off the ball, we'll blow everyone out. And you know what? We do it in patches, very, very small doses of it. I'm telling you, it's obviously unsustainable to be doing it over 4 quarters. But if you bring that intensity off the ball to create an option, I'm telling you, we'll blow everyone out. Sydney included. I'm telling you.
I think
Seen it for what it is, bloke.
I think that work ethic will come purely because we're probably going to start to get a few players back from injury, and there's probably a few players that are in the VFL, which, even for example, yesterday we had Hewitt resting on the bench. You can say it for what it is. He was rested. You can say it for what it is.
Yeah.
TDK.
Yeah, he's
He was rested.
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
So what I'm going to say is you'll have that because of all the rotations that we can have, and especially with the back half of the year, we're playing North Melbourne, we're playing West Coast, we're playing St Kilda, we're playing all these teams that towards the back half of the year, they're going to have literally nothing to play for.
That's right.
So a lot of these
You can manage
players
them.
can be managed.
Yeah.
And we're going to be able to have that in the run-in, into finals, fully,
Yeah.
we're going to be ready.
Yeah,
We're going to be
in
ready.
full force. Yeah.
Speaking of the West Coast game, I'm going to that in Perth. Booked it today.
Did you?
Yeah, and then I'm
Nice.
going to London for your wedding
Are you going from
there
you're
on
going
the
from West Coast?
17-hour Perth to London direct
Nice.
flight.
There you go.
Yeah, no stopover. I'm actually really excited. I agree with all of that. However, let's do justice to our forward line. We kicked 138 points last week. Kicked 131 points this week. Last week it was the Charlie and Harry show. This week, to the full credit to Ben Miller and who was on Harry? Broad, was it? I don't think it was Broad. He was on Williams a little bit.
No, that was the first gamer.
that
Blight.
bloke.
Blight.
Yeah.
Him.
Full credit to both of them. Did their job to stifle Harry and Charlie. They forgot about the rest of them who haven't necessarily had that sort of a game with our small forward group this year. But I looked at it and it was quite ironic because I remember Richmond in their dynasty, their smalls were elite. Butler, even Townsend chipped in when he needed to. Castagna. There was one more. Who's the other small? Oh, Rioli. Yeah, when Rioli was playing forward. And I went, it's ironic that I'm seeing our small forwards put in this sort of a performance against a team that built a dynasty off pressure when ball hit deck in the forward 50. And there's 2 players I want to talk about that deserve to be spoken about for about 10 minutes here, if we're being honest. Lockie Fogarty and Orazio Fantasia.
Raz.
Can I start with Raz, please?
Go.
I have said for weeks on this podcast, lay off. There's a role that he's clearly playing, and there's KPIs he's clearly hitting for him to be getting games week in, week out. And the narrative from our own supporter base, which is shit me, is he's the first one to be dropped. He's shit. He shouldn't be in the side. Play Motlop instead. Now what? Now he kicks 4 goals, and everyone goes, "Oh, okay, yeah,
I see it.
I see it now. Fuck off." Enough of this shit about potting our own players, because I'm telling you now, Raz's form outside of hitting the scoreboard this year has been worthy of keeping a 22 spot as a small forward. Now that he's kicked 4, he cannot be dropped. And it was said by Voss in the post match presser, I believe, around him playing a role that goes largely unheralded, but it was good to see him get some scoreboard nourishment, or whatever the word was that he used. As supporters, we need to stop with our own players. Yeah, it just shits me to no end. We need to stop potting our own players, because at the end of the day, we don't know. We don't. We've got an opinion, yeah, but we don't know what roles are set for what certain player. Last year, the 3 of us spoke about Harry's role. Higher up the ground, he was doing everything other than hitting the scoreboard, and that's why he was still so important to structure. Orazio Fantasia this year has done it week in, week out, and it's now become clear to everyone because he's hit the scoreboard in one game. Back off. Give him his flowers. Let him do what he's got to do. He's a fucking good footballer. He's a smart footballer. And forward of center, this is the 6th time I've said it on this podcast, he's the best ball user that we've got outside of Charlie.
Yeah, but you have to give full credit to Michael Voss.
Of course. Back him in.
Back with him. At
Yeah,
the end of the
100%,
day,
yeah.
he's
Look.
stacked back with him, and there's a reason, obviously, now that we've seen in the Richmond game. For me, I agree with you from when Voss started to let him play high up the ground.
Yeah.
He made more of an effort, and you've noticed that over the past couple of weeks, Fantasia's actually gone high up the ground
That's
to
been
get
for
more
last
involved.
month. That's been since
That's
the
not, I
Sydney
know,
game.
but at the start of the season, it wasn't.
No, but that's
he,
been
he
since
wasn't utilized like
No.
that, and maybe that's because of his body, and to actually just blood him back in.
I think before that, he probably wasn't utilized that way because the person that was playing.
Doc.
No,
It probably was Doc
was
a little bit.
probably Cottrell.
Or
to be
Cottrell,
Yeah,
honest.
he's talking off
It's
half forward.
probably Cottrell. Now, Fantasia's playing that role that when, for example, the ball's on one side of the ground, say it's Ollie Holland's wing, or if it's an Akers wing, whoever it is wing, they're rolling back to become that 7th defender. Okay, and you see it for what it is. Like if you go to the ground, or if you're able to get footage of it, that's what they're doing. Fantasia's role, okay, especially on that side, is he's getting and becoming the winger, and he's going
That's
to
right.
the winger.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
the amount of run that he does put in, and work ethic that he does put in, especially on the defensive end side of the game, is unbelievable. And that's why he's getting the plaudits internally. And even Voss in the last 3-4 weeks, they've been putting a lot of emphasis, okay, on players playing those roles and really celebrating the work that they've put in, rather than the stars like a Walsh,
Agreed.
like a Cripps, which we obviously will get into.
Agree,
Yeah,
100%.
but it's
And
a
you know
player
what?
of his. It's a player of his quality to be able to take that kick in the corridor.
Yeah.
But
How
he's
many
also,
times did he
but
take
he's
that
also
kick in
got
the
that as
corridor?
well.
Correct.
But
And that's why
from
for
the start
me,
of the season, we've seen that though.
we
Yes?
have.
Right.
We've said that he's a smart player from the get go. Personally, though, I understand what you're saying, that now, because he's always been that player. I think still in the role that he does play, he needs to keep kicking goals.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
I think,
but
I know he can still have a massive effect in score involvements and stuff like that. But personally, for
It's
me,
not like-
he needs to be a 1 to 2 goal. He needs to offer us that.
It's not like he hasn't had shots at goal. He was 2 goals 7 before yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? So he just wasn't converting.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Chances were still there.
You add that,
Of course.
and then he obviously
It's
gets
the same,
noticed.
it's the same argument with Harry. Harry added that this year, and all of a sudden he went to another level. At its core, he's still doing
Because
everything he needs to
As
do.
a supporter, you got to be looking at why every time he was selected. I think he was selected 12 out of the 15, or I think it was the first.
He's played
every game.
11
Yeah,
games, 12 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone said a start. Can't remember it now, but you've got to look at yourself and go, okay, why is Voss still playing him? And it's for all the reasons that we're mentioning. Yeah, smart footballer. He's, you know what I mean? He's a good ball user, but he needs to still kick goals like he did against Richmond.
He doesn't have to kick 4 a week.
No, he doesn't
Nah.
have to kick. I'm not saying 4 a week.
I'm not
Joe.
even, I don't even think he needs to kick 1 or 2 a game. I actually don't think he's in that
He
position.
needs to give you more than 2 goals 7
He's a third winger. That's what he is. He's a third winger.
now.
Well,
He-
for the
I
past
don't
5
say- I don't-
weeks.
Yeah, for the
I don't-
past
Past
5 weeks.
6
Yeah,
weeks he's been that
Yeah,
role.
he's a third winger at the
but he
moment.
needs to give you more than
I-
2 goals 7
I get that.
and the rest.
I get
The
that.
only thing is now third winger. I actually don't see him taking any other small forward like an Owies, like a Williams position. To be
No.
honest with you,
No.
I don't see him there in that position. I see him as a third winger, and I reckon that's his spot. But in a week, 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, I know there's one player that's probably going to be knocking on the door, and whether he's still in that position in 3-4 weeks' time, I'm not sure.
I actually think you're saying Cottrell.
Yeah.
Personally,
Cotters,
for me,
Cotters comes in. Yeah.
Cotters comes
Yeah.
in.
So,
For
but
me,
I
at the
don't know.
It's
moment,
not Fantasia that comes in.
no, I
right
think it's
now.
Ollie
I don't know.
Hollins.
I
Right
don't
now,
know.
For
you
me.
can't take Fantasia out. And if you're going to roll 3 wingers, you look at the wingers, Akers, Fantasia, Hollins. Right now, out of the 3, who's giving the least amount? You probably say Ollie. You probably would.
If Fantasia keeps performing,
If he keeps performing.
to what we saw against Richmond, if he continues
Also
what
s-
we're saying,
I also say that because Cotters has the running capacity that Ollie does too. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he can play that.
That'd be that
defensive role.
swap.
Yeah.
That'd be
correct.
the swap.
So that's Fantasia. The other one, Lockie
Fog.
Fogarty. You guys go for it because I just went on a fucking rampage.
For me, I'm just so happy with Fogarty because he's been able to do all the other little things that probably go very unnoticed externally, but internally they're probably not. I know we're sort of external as well, but we see it for what it is, and I'm sure there's a lot of the supporter base, especially Carlton supporters, see it. Probably not so much in the AFL world. People
I think
see
he's
it.
becoming a bit more recognised. I think they get it. His record's 19-2 since he came in midway through last year.
when you're
by the way.
playing in a top
19 and
side,
2.
when you're playing in the top side, you get recognised a lot more.
Yeah,
That's what's happening.
but
now
I'm
for
just
him.
Yeah, but
I'm
hold
just
on,
happy he
he's
got
19-2.
I know.
yeah.
but-
Since he
Yeah.
came in midway through last year in that Suns game, 19 wins and 2 losses.
From a
Not
wins
19
perspective.
Yeah,
goals,
win-loss
2 behinds.
percentage.
19 wins, 2 losses. It's
Um,
unbelievable.
I'm just happy that he's actually been able to hit the scoreboard this week,
And again,
especially
Essendon was the last time he kicked a goal.
yeah.
Playing
So
Essendon.
yeah, for me, like hats off to him.
I'll tell you
He's
something.
earned it. Definitely
No
earned
shit.
it.
I'll tell you something. For me, there's 2 players that were crying out to come back into this side to get us going again. All right. It was Adam Sard and Lockie Fogarty. Lockie Fogarty for that forward structure is absolutely pivotal for the pressure he brings, but now obviously adding goals, massive.
Mm.
It is.
Mm.
When you're not getting your too tall, your tall timbers, your fucking Harry and Charlie's firing, you need to call upon your smalls kick goals.
Mm.
And that's what we need.
Especially in the wet yesterday. That was made for small forwards yesterday in those sort of conditions.
Yeah.
Harry and Charlie were always going to struggle once
But
it was wet.
From what I've seen the
Really?
last couple of weeks, it's a Fogarty in that forward. For continuity, it's Fogarty and it's a Zach Williams.
Yeah.
Zach Williams
Oh,
now
Zach Williams is very
has
smart
established himself
Fucking
now
smart
Some of his
as a
foot skills.
Oh, not
He's
even
a-
that. His
nah.
body positioning, everything.
No,
is
everything.
For me,
unbelievable.
I'm more in terms of Williams. I think because he's obviously that more senior player. I know Charlie probably dictates a little bit down there, but for me, it's more of a structural thing. You can see Williams obviously instigating a lot of different things, a lot of different movements.
Jules, Voss. If you look at a centre bounce, Voss has Williams as the deepest forward.
He starts
the
in the goal
deepest
square.
forward.
Yeah, but so because you can see everything.
Of course, but this needs to keep
Yeah.
happening because it allows Charlie and Harry to lead. It actually creates a lot more space. That needs to keep happening. It's pivotal. I'm telling you.
Can I just say quickly? I just remembered what I wanted to say about Fantasia. Did you guys think yesterday was a game that maybe they pinpointed coming in where there might have been a little bit of an instruction to try and get him on the scoreboard? Because Owies marked a ball 35 meters out on a slight angle, which usually he'd go back and slot, and he deliberately passed to Fantasia in the pocket on probably a worse angle, to be honest, to try and get him into the game. Do you think maybe there was a little bit of, you know what, let's try and get him into the game, yeah, and try and give him some scoreboard nourishment, whatever you want to call it, to pep him up a little bit in terms of his recent
Generating
performances.
some confidence.
Yeah, and a bit of confidence.
Maybe. I don't know.
I saw it early, and I felt like maybe they're trying. It could be. I obviously could be wrong. Don't laugh, but it's
I mean, it's an easy game to do that.
exactly.
I don't know if it was discussed or whether it just happened. I always just thought of
I
it.
say that because when he scored, when he kicked his goals, they got
around him, of course.
Right, it was different. It was a different type of celebration when they got around.
The
Raz
players,
compared to the
players
others.
aren't dumb. The players listen to the scrutiny, the feedback and the scrutiny towards certain players, and they know what it would mean to kick a goal, for example, for Raz. So
Yeah.
they're not dumb.
Anyway, Raz, Fog,
I want to ask you this.
that's the time that they deserve tonight.
Can I ask you both a question? Do you think, that we had Chera come in, we had Pito come in? Do you think that the slow start or that sort of RG bar, like sort of in the mix, do you think it was down to personnel changes like that?
I don't think so when you're a Carlton coming up against a Richmond.
Right.
That's 17th.
It's a question.
I
It's not my
Yeah.
opinion. It's
You know
a
what?
question.
It's funny you mentioned it because I actually turned to my dad and I go, when they got within a kick and we looked really slow, and I went, maybe it's one of those games you bring in. My dad will actually he'll confirm this. Maybe it's one of those games where you bring in a couple of players that might still be a little bit underdone match fitness wise. You take out TDK, who's best player in the comp at the moment, most informed player in the comp, and maybe there's a little bit of that. But by the end of the game, no.
The only reason why I say that is because obviously we know Hewitt was clearly managed, likewise TDK, but I think changing up that midfield mix at the start,
To be honest,
maybe
there's-
I think with the defensive side that Hewitt brings, I think it maybe changed it a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
now thinking about it, because there's basically two players that have come out from our midfield.
Correct.
That's right.
So it's not
That's
more
right.
of a team thing. It's probably more of a midfield group.
Definitely.
That's
And then you
right.
saw them gain the ascendancy the longer the game went on.
Our midfield was getting battered early on.
Well, yeah.
Not battered, but
Wasn't battered,
it
it was
was
pretty
it was
even.
even,
It was pretty
right? And you
even.
wouldn't have expected that going into the
Yeah.
game
Yeah, but our
because
pressure-
their midfield's pretty weak.
I say that because our pressure wasn't the same.
Yeah, it was.
So you're taking out a George Hewitt and you're taking out a TDK, who we've seen his pressure on the ball as well has been immense.
Yeah.
You lose that, and you could see that maybe that was the reason as to why we did start slow. Then the players start to, more,
It's a
more Cripper and Walsh just go, listen,
course.
boys, coming out.
which we will
One
talk about
really.
when we get to our votes. But it was a good segue before we get to the votes around balance, right? And it's something that I'm a little bit, if I've got one concern, it's around right now the balance is really good, really good. But I've got a little bit of concern around once all of these players are available, there are certain players that have to play. And it's purely down to the fact that in sport, when you've got a contract that's a certain size and you've got a player that is of a certain class, they play. They do. They play. It's just it's fact, right? So it could get a little bit crowded in the midfield considering some of the contracts that are in there. This is how I think. And we saw it last year in the prelim, okay? He's got dropped. Doherty moved up to a half forward flank. Like, remember those changes we spoke about where we go,
Yeah.
I
why
think
are we
this
doing
time round might
Doc
be a bit
played more
different.
wing, but
or wing,
yeah,
whatever it was.
yeah,
But
Doc played wing.
we tried to fit certain players in just because they were those players and we needed them playing.
I would
I-
hope personally that's not the case.
Well, this is
I
my.
would
I would
really
hope so,
hope.
and I actually hope we've actually learnt from last.
So do I.
Agree.
However, I don't know if it's about learning. I just think we're a bit hamstrung with the list, and I think you're just going to see a very, very top-heavy midfield.
I just think
I don't know what that's going to do with.
I just don't think a player is as big as a club
I don't
to be able to do that personally.
Yeah.
Not with where we're at.
I don't see.
I hope so.
I don't think that'd be judging you based on your contract. If you're comparing a Cowan to a Weeders, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Probably the wrong
Yeah.
comparison, but
No, but it's probably the right comparison because it's not a Cowan. It's more
it's
like
not a Cowan, but it's probably not even Weeders. Like, don't use that comparison. But I wouldn't imagine that they'd be judging you based off that.
So I want to these are obviously just my thoughts. This isn't the answer. But on the weekend, you saw Hewitt come out and Kennedy and Chera come in. Okay. So in terms of the balance is the same.
That's now. I get that now.
So next week, what about if it's I don't know, always it's your time to rest on the bench. Okay. And then instead of an Elijah Hollins going into the midfield, okay, Walsh is playing off the half forward flank, and then all of a sudden you've still got that same sort of balance. Okay. Or a Chera. Chera started there. Walsh started there as well on the weekend at certain stages off the half forward flank, rolling up into the midfield as that extra player. That's what I think the rotations will be. Okay, I don't think there'll be any rotations where there's a defender rested. I think that'll be amongst that midfield group. Okay, I don't think a Cripps or a Walsh is going to be a sub. I don't see it. If anything, they'll just be rested totally towards the back half of the year. But it will be a Kennedy or a Hewitt, and it will be an always probably not a Fog, but it could be a Fantasia. It could be
Or maybe a Williams,
or a Williams, and they're the sub for the day, and that's where the rotations will be for balance.
I just think it's an interesting watch. I think it's an interesting watch.
selection.
No, just over the next 8 weeks leading into finals,
I don't
I think
know.
it's very interesting to see the way they go. And like I said, looking at last year and the way that we selected for the prelim, I would hope that we're not going down a similar path when it comes to finals and when it comes to bigger games where we go, we just got to get our best. We got to get our best personnel out there.
Common sense for me would say form prevails.
100%. And I want I
Well,
want.
yeah, common sense. Yeah, but we didn't see it in the prelim. Is what I'm saying.
And in terms of form, over the last 4 or 5 weeks, okay, we've been getting players back.
Mm.
I want to continue to see players back. I don't know what our injury list is at the moment. Say it's 6, 7 players.
Yeah, it's
It's
more or
less.
less.
the
It's
best
less,
it's looked
yeah.
for a long time. Yeah.
I want it at 5, 6 players, or even better. The more players we have fit, readily available,
No, of course.
the better,
Of course,
the
Jules.
better the performance is going to be.
And we see that now because Kennedy's going to miss next week with this medial strain, and Chera's fit. So
Yeah.
I get that side of it, but I'm talking about,
I don't want to make it easier for the coaches to select the team.
Nah,
I want to make it harder for them.
of course,
What he's saying is like scenario is we do have depth in selection.
like we saw in the prelim,
That's
and
yeah.
you have to play certain players just because. That's
I
what
just
I
don't
want to
think
run
that's
into.
where we're at as a football club.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think that's where we're at now, Joe.
Anyway,
can't-
like I
can't
said, it's just a
remember-
watch. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Not saying it will. I'm not saying it won't. It's just, for me, it's just a watch.
I can't remember a prelim or a grand final where a player hasn't missed.
What do you mean?
And a player that's performed probably shouldn't have missed
John Noble.
has missed. That's what I'm saying. There's always been players.
Mm.
Yeah.
They've always missed them.
Anyway, it'll be interesting. Last one on that, personnel, quickly, before we get into votes. This isn't directed at you, so don't take it personal. But, Pito, first game back since the Sydney game, essentially. There's been a lot of talk, not from you, around turnover game with Pito. I know what your opinion is. It's around the 2 ruck and whether that's going to work with the
Correct.
transition game.
Yeah, it's not down.
It's not to
When
Pito.
we-
It's
when
just
we-
a single. It's just,
When
no,
we get to
it's
the
just a ruck.
when we get to the preview, we'll talk about that because I reckon you're going to say the 2 ruck system this week against GWS.
I think we probably will.
In terms of anyone,
so as
in
well.
terms of, and I'll ask you this question, in terms of anyone that doubted Pito in isolation as potentially a reason for
They
our
have to
turnover
be
game.
silenced now. They have to
Yeah,
be
100%,
silenced
yeah.
now. But
100%.
seeing it for what it was, how
So
many points
now-
was it? Was
now
it 90?
what-
Was it
what that-
96?
It was 96 points
96
off turnover.
points.
Yeah, 96.
For me, the common factor here, and a
I
big
mean-
reason is your Adam Sard
Thank you.
and your Nick
Yeah.
Newman.
Yeah.
Look at Nick
McGovern.
Newman.
McGovern.
Yeah,
McGovern
but
as well.
Nick Newman as well. Because Nick
Well,
Newman's able to...
Pito hadn't played with Fogarty, McGovern, or Sard this season.
No, I know.
Up until yesterday.
We still have to take into consideration that I think Richmond, they're 17th on the ladder. Adam Uze even alluded to in the post game presser that the amount of score that they get off turnover is ridiculous as well
Yeah.
They're dog shit.
because they're terrible.
Yeah.
So we sort of got to take that into consideration too.
Of course.
But
But it's
yeah,
the same argument as playing a Geelong side that had no midfield.
Correct. And then
Same
blowing
thing.
I mean,
goats
it's
over
hard-
turnover.
hard-
And we're
it's-
blowing
it's-
goats about our midfield,
Or
the
around
way our
stoppage
midfield
and
did.
whatever.
You just got to call it for what it is. That's your opponent, and
Yeah,
that's,
of course.
So
Yeah.
I think what yesterday proved, if you're looking at hypotheticals, okay, the first hypothesis was, is it 1 ruck or 2? I think right now what we can say is 1 ruck works.
Yes.
100%.
Right, that 100% works.
100%.
Yeah.
The second layer to this, which we'll talk about in the preview, is can 2 rucks work? Because come finals, we will play 2 rucks. We just will. It's going to happen because if a TDK goes down and we've got 1 ruck in a finals game, forget about it. This is where I think the club's heading.
Yeah.
So
I think most teams roll with 1 ruck anyway.
but they've always got a pinch hit that's not a Harry Mackay who needs to be your key forward. It's always a pinch hit like Joe Danaher, but they've got 2 other key
The
forwards. at
problem
Brisbane.
is you're quite small.
Very.
If you have rolling and pinch hitting in there, you're very small.
Yeah.
We are definitely.
This is where
True.
I think that layer is going to come in.
That's what I reckon.
coming
yeah.
into finals.
I think
Seeing it
we're
for
gonna
what
see-
it was. Seeing it for what it was.
Anyway, that's the second
negative-
hypothesis in this is
Yeah.
does 2 ruck work? When we get to the preview, we'll talk about
Yeah.
that. Let's go to our votes. Not to cut you off, Jules, but let's go to our votes. Who wants to start?
Newman 1 vote, Walsh 2, Cripps 3. I don't know. Newman for me was the player that really directed traffic, the player that really set us up off the half back. And then Walsh was unbelievable, obviously kicking his 2 goals. And then Cripps, I don't know, he's got to be Brownlow favourite, doesn't he?
My odds on my bet went up heaps.
Probably.
Yeah.
Mate.
He has to be front runner now.
Go on.
Raz, 1. I thought a performance like that. Do you reckon a performance like that wins you Norm Smith?
Yeah, that's a Bobby Hill performance.
That's.
on
Do you
grand
reckon,
final
Jules?
day.
something like a performance like that. You kick 4, it
I
wins
don't
you.
know.
Norm
To be
Smith.
fair, not if Cripps has the game that he
Yeah.
has, because that's Cripps' Norm Smith on grand final day. But if it's a Bobby Hill performance and no one else stands up, sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Kick 4.
Faz's goals, I don't know, Bobby Seale's goals grand final day were just like ridiculous. And like what he does.
And the scene,
Yeah, of
like
course.
and the timing and stuff.
and
Yeah.
the way he moves.
But
and
Norm
stuff, I think
Smith
it's a
is
bit
usually
different.
that sort of player. Where
That's
it's
what I
like,
was thinking.
It's
yeah.
like someone that just
I don't
has
think
a little.
Faz had that performance yesterday.
Yeah,
You
I
probably
mean,
have to be involved a bit more.
Not involvement. It's just the
well, to be
Raz and
fair,
Daz, like the
against
dazzle
Richmond,
of it.
though.
I
to
just
be
don't
fair,
think he had it.
he didn't get any coaches' votes. To be fair,
Hmm.
which I was actually
Didn't he?
shocked by.
He got in team of the week though.
Channel 7.
Surely
two,
that's not a...
I got Walshy. I actually think his game was. I reckon if maybe Cripper, I don't know. But I think his game was up there with like one of the best we've seen
From Walsh.
from Walsh.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The way he was using the
that's-
ball and his 2 goals, I'm telling you,
Walsh only had
he had
I mean,
10
he had-
score involvements.
He
I
had
think
20.
it was.
Yeah. Well, he had 10 tackles.
10
But-
tackles as
yeah,
well.
So,
yeah.
so listen to this. Yeah, 26 disposals. He had 9 contested possessions. Only 9. I think that's probably like the right balance. You don't want him to be like even.
Correct.
You want him to be a bit more on the outside, just obviously with his run.
We want him
And
to
getting
be
in
forward
open
of center
space
to be able
and
to
receiving
use
the ball, to be able
Yeah.
to run, like you said, receiving those handballs, which he did on a number of occasions. So, yeah, and obviously that helps because he's able to get in positions to be able to score those 2 goals.
And you had Cripps for 3.
Cripps for that.
I had Sard for 1. I actually thought Sard was brilliant yesterday. I thought maybe outside of Weeders, he was our best defender, but he's in some seriously good form at the moment. Sard. He had 24 disposals. I think 22 were effective, and he's not losing a one-on-one contest at the moment. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Obviously, the opposition yesterday was a little bit weaker up forward, but he's been doing that for weeks
And
now.
you know, just sorry to cut you off. When you watch Sard, he makes the opposition feel as though that kick's on.
Yeah, he invites it.
He invites
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kick
yeah,
and he
yeah.
intercepts. It's
So
a genuine
24
art.
disposals, 16 kicks, 5 marks, 4 tackles. He only had 2 turnovers. Like I said, 22 were effective. 7 score involvements from all of that. And especially towards the back end of the game, he had 5 rebound 50s as well. But especially towards the back of the game, he started to take the game on a bit more once it opened up, which I think we need to see a little bit more of from Sard. I know his role that he's been given is clearly one of a lockdown and making sure that he doesn't get beat one-on-one and holds his position. But he's a weapon that we've got come at final series if we need some run and gun from the back half. Like, we haven't seen what he's capable of running through the middle for a long time, and he started to loosen up a little bit yesterday, which I liked. Walsh, you've obviously spoken about. I had him for 2, but the one that we've got to do a little bit more justice than what we've done in this vote is Paddy Cripps, boys. This is ridiculous. I have said multiple times on this podcast and on fan cams and to people, if Cripps wins this 17th flag, just 17, forget about 18 and 19. If he captains us to 17, forget about a second Brownlow, but if he just captains us to 17, he will be the greatest player we have ever seen pull on a Carlton jersey. I guarantee you. Guarantee you. What he does as a footballer, let alone a leader, but as a footballer first and foremost, is a fucking joke. He is a joke of a footballer. Leadership, he's what you can put him up there. If he wins this flag as captain, you can put him up there with any Carlton captain of all time. This is the longest drought we have ever had as a football club, winning a flag. Nichols, Kernahan, I get it. Great captains, great footballers, won lots of flags. Different era. Different team. Cripps came in when we were absolute dog shit, and to see him lift the cup, I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about it. Just to see him lift the cup and come through all of that shit as our captain would be, it would put him as number 1 in my books. You cannot convince me otherwise. You just can't. 40 disposals again yesterday, 14 clearances. That's back-to-back games he's done that, and he's on fire. You can see how much confidence he's got,
confidence.
not just in himself, but in the group. And that's giving him more confidence to take the game on and do what he needs to do. He's a joke.
How good
I
is it
love
when
him.
you
I actually love him so
How
much.
good is it when you see him just go through like 3 tackles, like break, shrug 3 tackles and come out with
Yeah.
a clearance?
There was one occasion where I think he was trying to hit a, can't remember if it was a Williams or Kennedy leading up, and he was leading up on an angle and probably should have gone directly through him. But he won the clearance, obviously in the center. Literally shrugged to burst away from another, and it was just vintage Paddy Cripps.
Oh, yeah. It was when he gave the handball to Walsh for that goal.
No, that's not
No?
that one.
No,
It was
wasn't.
the one
in
where he
fourth.
tried to
There was
hit
multiple
No,
then.
it was in the 4th quarter. And he
Yeah.
was trying to hit up someone,
Okay.
but I wouldn't have been.
I know what you mean. It was from a centre clearance,
from a
and he
centre clearance.
shrugged 2.
Two.
He had a third on him.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
evaded.
There were a few honourable mentions. Nick Newman, Blake Acres both had very good games. I thought Matt Kennedy had a good game too, up until when he was subbed. Up until when he came off. Elijah was solid again. Fogarty, obviously, we've spoken about in Fantasia. But Lockie Cowan's another one, just quickly, that I think he'd be stiff to not get a rising star this week after not getting it last week. He's got to get one eventually. He's been phenomenal. That's it. Livy, this week, this is some of Livy's best work, just by the way, and it goes for 3 minutes. She sent this to me literally 5 minutes after the game finished.
I gave constructive feedback to Livy. That's why you're seeing a result.
Do you want to? Okay. Maybe we'll do some 360 on Livy.
I did.
No, let's not.
I did.
Livy's last word.
Hey everybody, it's Livy with Livy's last words, and this is what I thought about the game. Mate, absolutely amazing. We have just been playing some amazing football. Mate, we are going to get into the grand final. I'm not just saying that, but I believe it. But hopefully I'm right. But anyways, the boys just played absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of them. The first and second quarter, I mean, it was a bit close. I felt like we should have, been more in front, but Richmond, they definitely had some great pressure on us. Let me just start off by saying as well, the umpires were SHIT. They were absolutely shot. But anyways, I think they just made some very unnecessary calls, but, not for us, of course. But anyways, in the third quarter, mate, I've just got to say, Cripper on fire, got a goal, which was absolutely amazing. I reckon we played really good. Our defence was very, very good. I mean, a few points. We fumbled and our defence just wasn't going great. But the fourth quarter, we're just amazing. Won that game by 61 points. So happy. Walsh, mate, he's an absolute gun. Same as Kerno, mate, that goal he kicked out of the 50, bro, that was an amazing goal. Newman, absolutely amazing. I reckon he played an amazing game as well. Same as Chincotta and Fantasia. Fantasia, 4 goals, mate. Fantasia. Orazio Fantasia, you're on fire. He had an amazing performance. Same as Fogarty, 3 goals from him, which was absolutely amazing. Shy Bolton, mate, what was that kicking? I kind of feel bad for him. But anyways, Mackay kicking 2 goals. Kerno 2 goals, absolutely amazing. Chincotta with 2 goals as well, same as Walshy. Mate, congratulations to Zach Williams on his 150 games. He played amazing. I mean, bro, how the freak did they not call that goal? It did not freaking touch the post. Zach Williams definitely, for sure, kicked that goal. And to say it as a late call, mate, I was fuming. Absolute fuming. But anyway, Colton played absolutely amazing. Next week, we are versing the GWS Giants. Mate, that's in the bag. Reckon we will smash them. But anyways, this is what I thought about the game. Go the Blues!
Yeah, she took on your feedback.
Big time.
Sounds like.
She did well.
Yeah.
Well done, Livy.
She's good every week, but that was definitely her best. Now, we got some feedback from listeners last week. Apparently, our previews are just dog shit. Now, I tasked you both last week.
Preview?
I tasked you both. I said, you know what? It's yours to do. So,
Yeah, I forgot about that.
off you go. Yeah.
Off the cuff?
It's not that easy.
No, we're good.
No, you know what? Off the cuff a bit. GWS, they've got a number of guns, obviously, throughout their team. They played Adelaide on the weekend. I think they lost by 20. Now, usually you go, let's lock down a Toby Green. Let's lock down a Green. Let's, stop Whitfield off the halfback. I think Whitfield had like 38 or 40 possessions.
40 touches.
Toby Green kicked 3. Tom Green kicked 38. They still lost by 20-something points. Riccardi kicked 2. So in terms of
I watched it.
personnel, they were probably all on.
Because they got
or
Canelio
above.
back.
They'll probably all even Cully, he had 20-something kick 2. they're all like on form. Like in terms of the averages, like that's probably surpassed it. But even though they still lost by 20 something points against an Adelaide
Can I
side.
tell you why? Can I tell you
Why?
why? Because I watched it. The contested side of their game,
Dog shit.
dog shit. The clearance side and stoppage side of their game, dog shit. Adelaide belted them in that area. They got first use and they capitalized.
This is what I think.
Yeah, I agree with you.
This is
I'm
what
letting you lead
this
the
is what I
preview.
think. I think there's actually another element to it. To be fair,
Post.
I don't think it's so much the contested side of the game. I reckon it's their ball movement. They can't move the ball, and these
It's
stats
slow.
here show they went from 6th from round 0, opening round to round 9, in the comp. All right, to 18th. They're the worst in the competition at the moment in the last 6 weeks of moving the
D50
football.
inside 50.
Yeah, there you
From
go.
yeah, they can't move the pill.
We've nailed it.
That's 2 minutes.
All right. What are your thoughts, Joe? What do you
Nah,
reckon?
it's
What,
good.
what do you think we need to do to stop them?
It's good IPO analysis. I haven't watched much of GWS, so I can't.
They're not the same as what they were last year. I'll tell you
No.
that
Well,
much.
how about this? Last time we met.
We're not good at this bit.
No, well, this is an easy one, right? So let's reflect on the last time we met.
We played them
Round 6
Yeah, we scored something ridiculous off turnover kicks. We
In the
scored
second half.
50 something points off turnover.
in the second half.
Yeah, the first
Yeah.
quarter.
And they
that-
scored
First half
They didn't
was
score a goal
stoppage
off
dominant,
turnover.
and we stayed in the game with them, but we played terribly in the
Yes.
first half. Terribly. So we've got a much better balance, I think, throughout 4 quarters now. We don't sort of switch
Yeah.
to the other. I think it's much more balanced.
Chincotta goes to
Can
green.
I
Yeah,
finish?
that game
Oh.
there we had.
Wait,
Timmy
Chincotta
K
goes to
played
green.
that game, didn't he?
that was the 2 rucks that game.
Yeah, that was the 2 ruck.
That was the first game Pito played.
Yeah,
Sorry,
correct.
the second game after the Adelaide game. It was his first good game for the year.
Yeah, he killed it actually that game.
He was the highest rated player on the ground.
Yeah.
Now, on that, so this is why I wanted to reflect on the last time, because it was the first time we saw the 2 rucks for the year. I think this will be the first time we've seen the 2 rucks since Sydney against the same opposition. I think it makes sense. Kieran Briggs, big ruckman. He's agile, but he throws his body around. And I think you probably want to give TDK a bit of a rest so he can go all game with him. This is a ruckman that will go all game, essentially. He does it every week on his own for GWS. We'll see. I firmly believe we'll see the 2 rucks this week. Now, on that, obviously Kennedy won't play because he has that medial strain. So the midfield mix isn't going to be too top heavy. So we don't have to worry about that for this week. Jordan Boyd's not going to play. So we might have some issues moving the ball from that perspective, potentially. Right now, Boyd's not playing for that bump. Hopefully he gets off, and hopefully our back 6 mix and the way that we move the ball from the back half into the forward 50 isn't compromised by the loss of a Jordan Boyd and his ball use. But if he doesn't play and we play the 2 rucks and we look slower, does it tell us anything about whether or not the 2 rucks can work or not?
Yeah, look, I don't know if it's about.
No, personally.
Not off one game.
Not off one game.
Yeah, I think it's too hard to tell. I think we did have a patch of 4 or 5 games where it obviously didn't work.
Not with
Yeah.
this not with this
Not with
list
not,
that
not
we've
with
got
this
now.
group, but
Now,
I'd like
I
to
don't-
see 3 or 4
Second-
weeks with this list.
Second part of
With
this,
what? With
if
this
Boyd,
selection.
so
group.
we're talking personnel and the way that we've structured up in the system. If Boyd doesn't play, who fills that role?
I don't know if there's anyone in the reserves like a Marchbank that would come back in. To be honest with you, I think you're probably a bit too tall against a GWS.
That's right. So we're going to keep the same structure.
So I
Yeah. So
think
you
it's
need a
all-
running
I
halfback.
think a Sincotta will probably drop
Oh,
back.
he goes
So
there.
what happens then if it's Chincotta that goes to halfback, right? He'll probably play a tagging role on a Toby Green if he's in the defensive
Yeah.
50. You're not getting that run from Boyd. So where does that transition run come from? Does Sard go off the leash? Is this the week that we see Sard go off the leash and really start to use ball movement?
I think we have enough players there to be able to
be able to get that
you've
going
got
still.
Newman, who's a good user. You got Gov. You got Sard. Even Sincotta, he can still. I know in the VFL.
It doesn't
he was a bit
always
like
come
that.
from Boyd.
No, but he's a big part of our ball.
Yes, he is. His
Yeah,
ball
His
use-
ability to hit the corridor
Yeah.
3 times
I'm-
yesterday
I'm actually-
was ridiculous.
I'm actually not so worried about the. I don't think Boyd. I think he's a very good part to our football side. Like without a doubt, I rather him in the team. But in terms of being more detrimental in terms of who's in and who's out, playing the 2 rucks, it means Harry's inside forward 50. It means TDK predominantly is probably going to be playing him inside forward 50 because I don't see Pito there. playing as
No.
that third tall.
No.
It's not going to happen.
No.
He's either in the ruck or he's on the bench. It's more the functionality around our inside forward 50. So that I see more of a problem, more of an issue, more of a concern, rather than any other part of the game.
Does Mott's come in?
No.
Does Mott's come in?
I don't think you can bring anyone in other than
No.
TDK for Kennedy this week. As long as Boyd
Well,
gets,
and
as
Boyd-
long as Boyd gets off.
No.
Yeah, and then Boyd-
So use the scenario that if Boyd doesn't. Let's
yeah,
talk.
then
That's what we're
Sink-
talking
then
about.
Sink.
Sink goes
Cunningham,
back.
You could bring a Cunningham in.
I don't think so.
Now, I think Motts will be the sub.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think Motts will be the sub.
Okay.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting.
going off his exclusion in the VFL on the weekend,
Mm.
Okay.
which
Yeah,
I
which
have-
means,
I-
which means
I-
he's
Which means
probably
he's there or thereabouts.
I haven't been from what I'm aware of. I don't think he was withdrawn because of an injury or an illness or anything
No.
like that. I'm assuming there might have been a player where they might have not have been 100% sure of, like late, and then that's why he didn't play.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm hoping we play the two rucks because I want to see what it looks like. I do, because I am so confident that come final series we're gonna see a two ruck system.
But you can't judge it off one game.
No. But
It can't be judged off one
I'm
game.
saying I think
You
it's
can't.
I just think it's inevitable that we roll with the two ruck system if both of them are fit come finals. I just think it's the way it's going to be, and we need to see how that gels up until that point. If it doesn't work, trust me, Jules. If we roll with a two ruck system for the next 2-3 weeks and it doesn't work, I'll be the first to put my hand up to go. Enough's enough. Go back to the one ruck system. I think we can make it
My
work.
biggest concern over is what I said earlier is the fact that we'll be too small
Too small.
if we go with one.
Come a final series.
Come final
if one
series.
goes
if
down,
one,
and then
yeah,
that ruckman goes down.
correct.
Correct. Yeah, agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that being too small of an issue. I don't. I think most sides in the last few
But
years in grand final,
We're saying if that one ruck goes down with an injury.
yeah, but
during
you
the game.
can't. What happens if a Charlie goes down and you only play one?
Yeah,
forward?
I know, but
Like,
it's a bit
it's the same. It's the same.
it's a bit different.
It's the same.
It's a bit
So-
different. Because all right, then Charlie goes down. You got two rucks. You can put TDK forward.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but
You can still keep your structure.
I'm just saying, if you don't, there's a lot of teams in the AFL, for example, even when
No, most
when
don't play
Richmond-
two rucks. Most
even
don't.
Richmond,
Yeah.
for example, they didn't have two
No.
forwards. They only had one, and sorry, yeah.
I'll tell you.
there's a lot of teams.
I'll tell you something.
Geelong. Who else did it?
I think this is where Sauce would have been perfect this year as a third tall. I reckon that this would have been the role. So we didn't have to play both rucks at the same time.
Mm.
So that you've got Sauce there as the backup, just in case it goes down, in case one goes down, or just a backup every week. That's your pinch hit.
Yeah.
I honestly think that was the move.
Yeah, but even if you do play those two rucks and Sauce is in there, then Harry's in there, it's just way too tall.
No,
And
because Sauce is a bit more dynamic. He's not.
Yeah,
he's
it's
not.
still too tall. You can't have two players over the size of 190. Sorry, four players inside over 4 players over 190 in your forward
But you
line.
can, because we saw it last year. We made a run with it. We made a genuine run.
Yeah,
We won 10
but
games
it wasn't
straight.
enough.
We won 10 games straight.
Yeah, but it wasn't enough.
I
We didn't win
don't.
the granny.
Yeah,
it's
all
not
right, but
enough.
I don't think.
So I don't
Come
see
on,
it.
Jules. That wasn't. That's that. We didn't lose the prelim because it was two rucks. We lost the prelim because we were out of gas, bloke.
We
We're
didn't lose-
playing elimination
we-
finals every week.
We lost the prelim because we couldn't score off turnover, because we lost the contest and then we couldn't score
All
off
right.
turnover.
Anyway, regardless, like I said, I can hand on heart say right now the direction is going to be a two ruck system. It will be. It's going to be. It has to be. Like I can't see them not playing a two ruck system come finals. Anyway,
We'll
and
wait
that's
and see.
what's going to be interesting about this week, whether or
We'll
not we
know.
go with it. All right, predictions, margins.
Carlton by 20.
JDOS up there.
Oh, fuck, I thought he was going to say Jedi's win. Fucking hell.
I reckon it could be Carlton by 15.
Yeah,
We
I'll
play
say
well
Carlton
there.
by 16, 17.
We
It's
play
fine.
well there.
Yeah, historically, yeah,
Mm.
we have.
We
Last
went
couple
there.
of times
When
we've
we
been up
went to the
there.
game?
Yeah, and we won it.
Couple
We won
years
it early last year. The first time I played them up there. What about like a? I don't usually do this.
By extending it.
Like what's it like? Give like a prediction on like a player or
like
something.
player prediction.
Yeah, like who's going to break the game open, or like what's going to be a
Charlie-
storyline or something.
Charlie 5.
All right.
He's playing on Buckley. No Taylor. No Taylor for
No
them.
Sam Taylor.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably should have kicked 5 this week.
Your dad would definitely say if Sills
Well,
was
he's
still
playing on the
watching.
first gamer. I don't know. You already took Charlie. I'm going to go.
He's gonna go it.
Well, it's an obvious one, is it not?
Not really. Could have gone.
Yeah,
like,
kind of is.
But he's got to kick 5. You know,
It kind of is.
soon.
if he was playing
Um,
North, you'd say
I'm going to
Charlie
go
five.
Welsh 35 and 2 goals again.
Yeah, see, I like that. That's the type of prediction you got to come up with. I'll go. I'll go Cripps with another 40 and another 3 Brownlow votes. Back to back 40s.
Do you know what? I was actually thinking about it today. This is the time of the year where we had those 4 games 50
Yes.
plus.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
had 2.
2 by 60 plus.
Yeah, now we've had 2 by 60 plus. I wouldn't be surprised if it's another either. I know we've gone 15,
Well, you wouldn't
17,
put it past
20,
us. Yeah.
but I wouldn't put it past us where it's another 50 plus, considering these stats.
If it was here, I'd be saying the margin was bigger.
I reckon this is Simo in the comments. Dan S.
Yeah, it has to be.
What's it say?
Joe, I want to see you get stuck into Jules. Don't hold back.
I know Simo agrees with me anyway.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's it for the
I'm trying to
night.
feed it.
That's
He
it.
definitely doesn't.
That's it for the night. Yeah, he definitely doesn't agree with you based on his comments. That's it for the night, except
Keep calm. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10.
Not happy, Jen!
No shit, no one cares.
I don't know why you listen to Jules. He always listens to other people. That's
I know.
why. Just back yourself.
I know.
we still need to do a preview. But anyway, Dan S in the comments, and Isimo, all capitals, definitely not Jules. He doesn't agree.
You know why he's doing that? Because he wants a feud.
Yeah,
That's
he
what
does.
he wants.
He loves
wants it.
bickering. Anyway,
If you
Dan,
get me started in a feud, it's bad.
Dan,
I'm
go.
gonna have a
It's
go
yours.
at Simo next time I see him.
Dan segment.
You ready?
Can't speak. Remember.
Why are you targeting
No,
me
no.
for?
Jules
No,
doesn't. Jules doesn't interrupt. You're interrupting again. All right. So, my not happy Dan, to the Richmond supporter sitting 5, and the bloke was like, I'm loud, but this bloke was different level. To the Richmond supporter, you're probably not watching this. We're in the Leeds top. Go and fuck yourself. He was wearing he wasn't even wearing anything Richmond. He was wearing a Leeds top. Now, this bloke, and Josh, can please get it off Josh. They were 5 minutes into the game. They scored their first goal. And he's saying, I can't hear any Carlton supporter. Yous are all quiet.
Not 5 minutes in.
5-minute bloke. I swear, I'm not adding any mayo.
What the fuck?
5 minutes in, this fucking bloke, where I can't hear yous. Yous are all quiet. Kept little pot shot.
What happened in the third?
I lost it. I absolutely went irate on this bloke. I go, you in the red jacket. I go, shut the fuck up. I go, where's your 90,000 supporters now? Like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Turned around, didn't say anything. There was more that was said,
Yeah, no.
but I need to keep it
PG.
G. To him, pissed me off because all game I cannot describe to you. Well, that tempted to move away from him because he was a joke.
Can I ask you a question? Isn't that like secluded to just Carlton
No, because it was
because of
there.
the function? or not?
Nah, there was more Richmond supporters around us.
It'd still be premium reserve seating there.
But he was going, oh, he goes,
We had that section.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's still level 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, but that's dumb.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, there wasn't any Geelong
There
supporters
wasn't
there.
any
But I go
Geelong,
to
just
him-
Carlton.
Yeah, it's a bit.
I yelled
Was
at
he
the
part of the
bloke.
function?
Nah, he wasn't. I yelled at the bloke. I go, you're complaining. And because he goes, oh, I'm happy sitting on my 3 premierships. I go, if you want to talk to the past, I'll talk premierships. This guy's talking about 3. I go, oh, I'm happy to talk about the past. Fuck you.
Yeah, no, that's not bad. That one. That's good. That's good. Anyway, that's another week done and dusted.
All
Good.
right, Lauren's pregnant.
Yeah, we gotta go.
She's giving birth in labour.
We'll see you next week. Up the baggers.